Mike, talking to you about ACL injury prevention, and the first step, as I'm covering in the blog, is proper assessment of the athletes. We use a system here called the functional movement screen. If you've never heard of this, it's pretty much taking the strength and conditioning world by storm. It's 7 functional movement patterns that tell the story about a particular athlete or training clients' mobility and dynamic stability through efficient movement patterns. So we're looking for compensations, and those compensations in the pattern usually tell a story. Although we try not to judge the cause of the compensation right away when we use the screen, we're looking for a bigger picture before we prescribe corrective exercises. As far as ACL injury is concerned, there is a couple obvious things that we see in a few of the different tests. One of the tests I'm going to cover today is called the overhead squat. What the overhead squat is, and you can do this with a dowel rod. You don't need have a whole test kit over there, but all you need is a dowel rod. You'll have the athlete stand with their feet shoulder width apart, okay, with the insides of their feet shoulder width apart, toes are facing straight ahead, they're not turned out at all. Then they'll take the dowel rod and they hold it on top of their head with their elbows bent to 90 degrees, and we check in the mirror, elbows bent to 90 degrees, and then they're going to shoot the dowel rod up above their head. Then you instruct the client to squat as deep as they can while keeping the dowel rod above their footprint, okay? And you'll see a lot of different things happen. I'm only going to cover really the compensation that really tells us the story that that client is at a very, very high risk for an ACL injury. If you're doing jumping, running stuff, and you see similar type movements, no, you're dealing with the same situation. But the overhead squat would just look like this. The client would squat down and come back up. My knees should stay on top of my toes. When we see the client, we see they call this a valgus of the knee, where the knees kind of cave in as they squat down. We know we have a problem there. And believe it or not, the knee stability on the inside, as far as the muscle that would control that and counteract that force, predominantly is the gluteus medius. So it's the side of your butt, actually. We want to get activated, and we want that muscle to be stronger and work more efficiently. And I'm going to get to that later in the post. And the overactive or the tight musculature, which usually needs to be inhibited and lengthened, is the entire adductor or inner thigh complex. When it's tight, pulls the knees inward. Typically, we'll have the athlete, and they're stopping and they're cutting, and we're seeing that valgus pattern through it. They're trying to exert force into the ground, and that's when we get that ACL rupture. Same thing on a rotational plane, where they'll plant something rotational and the knee will buckle. So when the glute medius is not working well, or the adductors are overactive, you are looking at a much higher rate for knee injury in that particular athlete. Okay.